My dad had Alzheimer's. He was diagnosed with it in 2003, but we knew he had it a bit before that. In fact, all the studies showed that people actually have Alzheimer's 20 years before they're actually diagnosed with it. And there's a lot more awareness today about Alzheimer's. There's not enough funding. We're just now beginning to get a national plan. So I've tried to be a communicator on behalf of the disease, on behalf of the research going on behalf of the need for the nation to wake up to the boomers all coming of age, and we really are in a national crisis when it comes to Alzheimer's and many other brain-related and mind-related diseases. I think when anybody has a loved one with Alzheimer's and people are being diagnosed every 90 seconds, they have a suspicion that something's quite not right or something's a little bit off, but people don't want that diagnosis, so they keep trying to put it off. And even the people who are diagnosed with it suspect it way before they have an actual formal diagnosis. But it's not a diagnosis, I think, that a person with Alzheimer's wants or a family member wants, because people feel like, well, there's no drug to get rid of it, so gee, I don't want to tell anybody. So there's still a lot of shame associated with Alzheimer's. It is, I call it a mind-blowing disease because it blows the mind of the person who gets it, but it really blows the mind of everybody who knows that person and who has to come into contact with that person, and it changes all the time, so it continues to blow your mind. I wrote a book, a children's book in 2004 that came out called What's Happening to Grandpa, which was a bestseller, but I wanted to do a television project, but it wasn't really one that people were interested in because people in television thought it was a downer. But once the New York Times put it on the front page and said these numbers are stunning, they're shocking, and they're the numbers we should all pay attention to, HBO decided that they would tackle it as a multi-part series. And I had pitched HBO on Alzheimer's like 2 years before, and so they came and said, you know, we're now ready to do it. And they put a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of man and woman power into the Alzheimer's Project. Sheila Nevins, who's their Oscar-winning documentary producer, oversaw it, and it had a huge impact. I think it was their most successful series to date, and was downloaded, made available, and I think it impacted millions of people. It brought a lot of attention to the disease, it brought a lot of information, and it connected people to resources. I testified in the Congress, and we now have a national Alzheimer's plan. It's not fully funded, but Obama certainly has stepped up and said, you know, we understand that we need to coordinate our health care when it comes to Alzheimer's. We're at the beginning of this, and we want to do better, and this is the beginning. Every person should, you know, demand of elected officials that they fund the research and the science of these diseases, which will ultimately bankrupt our nation. So I think your vote is valuable, and people often throw it away. So I recommend, if you have somebody with Alzheimer's, get them into a clinical trial, get active. It's a good way to kind of deal with the frustration, and it's a good way to kind of feel that you're making a difference and that there is hope.
We're happy, things are good.
Probably everybody with Alzheimer's has that one moment when the person doesn't recognize you, and that's known you their whole life, who, if it's your mother, brought you into this world, and there's always that moment when they say, "Who are you?" or look at you and have no recognition of who you are. So I think that is that's a mind blower. And so I think probably people have different variations of that, but I think that pretty well sums up Alzheimer's.